Last week, New Jersey ticketed dozens of drivers for idling. If a truck doesn't have an APU, the driver's forced to idle. If they can't idle, they're forced to sit in a hot truck. To those of you who say, just roll down the window, imagine sleeping with your door open. Many drivers can't keep their windows open. They don't feel safe. It's not safe to keep their windows open while they sleep. Others say, well, it cools down at night. Well, that's fine if you drive during the day and you sleep at night. But what if you're a driver who drives at night? You have to sleep during the day. You're not in a place where you can keep your windows down. The truck gets hot. We're going to sit in the truck for an hour. We're going to try to sit in the truck for an hour to show you just how hot it gets inside of a truck. Right now, the outside temperature is 95 degrees. Currently, inside the truck, it's 100 degrees. We'll update you every 10 minutes. We are 10 minutes in. It's hot. It's 104 degrees in the truck right now. For those of you not in the trucking industry, just so you know, the DOT requires drivers spend 10 hours a day in their sleeper berth. I couldn't imagine spending 10 hours in 104 degree plus weather. Again, to those of you saying roll down your windows, it's not safe for most people to roll down their windows and to go to sleep. And for an industry that's so regulated, we're so worried about hours of service and making sure that drivers get adequate rest. Drivers are required to run e-logs so that we can monitor their hours so that they are taking their breaks and getting rest. There's no way to get rest in this heat. There's no way to sleep comfortably. It's hot. It's miserable. We'll check back in 10 more minutes. So we are 20 minutes in. It's hot. I tried to show you guys. My dress here, it's completely covered. Paula's completely covered. It is
105.
We're 20 minutes in. It's 105 degrees. We are completely covered in sweat. I could not even imagine trying to sleep in this weather. It's absolutely, it's terrible. There would be no way to get a restful sleep. So guys, we're at 29 minutes, 22 seconds. My heart rate is fluctuating between 119 and 127. Show you guys that. Just for reference, my average heart rate, let me find it. I'm struggling a little bit here. Just for reference, my average resting heart rate is 68. So that's a pretty elevated heart rate. So just wanted to read you guys some of the symptoms of heat exhaustion. This is according to WebMD. It's confusion, dark colored urine, that's a sign of dehydration, dizziness, fatigue, fainting, headache, muscle or abdominal cramps, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, pale skin, profuse sweating, and rapid heartbeat. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on my heart rate, and we'll keep an eye on the time. We're going to try to make it an hour. We're almost 31 minutes in. So we're going to keep going. We are at 40 minutes, or 39:55, almost 40 minutes. We're at 40 minutes and 112 degrees inside the truck right now. So it is hot in here. And Paul's gonna go back in the sleeper berth and see if it's any more comfortable back there and see if he can get some rest in the last 20 minutes.
This is gonna be awful. So I gave it a shot, guys. There was no way. Like, my eyes are on fire. There is so much salt in my eyes, and on top of that, that mattress with the way that it's coated and the way that it's wrapped just like retains the heat. Dude, there's no good place to be right now. I feel like it's just awful. All right, I'm actually starting to get pukey.
Okay.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Dude, I'm about to be
47 minutes in.
It's 47 minutes. You know, think whatever you want, but this is unreasonable and unreal. But one of the signs of heat stroke is being nauseated, and my stomach is flipping out. Maybe Sadie is a stronger person than I am. Actually, she is. But regardless of what it is, this is nothing that any human should go through, no matter how, whatever. This is awful. I can't think straight. I gotta get out of this truck. Sorry, guys. I'll leave it up to Sadie.
Okay, 48 minutes in. Paul's getting out. I'm gonna try to make the last 12. Give you guys an update. I know it's a little early, but I'll give you guys an update on the temperature in here. Paul just opened the door, and it's 109 right now. So I've been monitoring my heart rate because that's a big sign of heat exhaustion. It's at 129 right now. Let's show it to you guys. 129 for my heart rate right now. Elevated heart rate is a sign of heat exhaustion. And as I told you guys earlier, my average resting heart rate is around 68. Pull it back up for you guys to see that. As soon as my phone catches up, it's running really slow. iPhone. Yesterday my resting heart rate was 74. My high heart rate was 136, and I had a really hard workout at the gym yesterday. So this is kind of simulating a workout for me. I'm up to 132 right now. 109 in the truck, or 108.5 now, I guess. So we're at 56 minutes in, 4 minutes left. Again, I'm going to redress all the things that people say, all the excuses people make to not fight back against anti-idling laws. So one excuse is roll your window down. I know a lot of female drivers. I spent summers in a truck. I know I, for one, wouldn't have felt safe sleeping with the windows open. And I know most of my friends who are on the road wouldn't sleep with the windows open either. It's not safe in most places. Yeah, there might be some places that are safe, but it's not safe. You know, to those of you saying, oh, well, most trucks are 2007 and newer. You know, I talk to truck drivers all the time. I live this industry. To those of you saying, you know, oh, well, that only applies to trucks 2007 and older, I'm sorry. To those of you saying that only applies to trucks that are older than 2007, who don't have the clean idle certification, there are still plenty of trucks, working trucks on the road, that don't have that certification. And if something happens to one of us, it happens to all of us. And every time we stay still and stay quiet and say, oh, that trucking law doesn't apply to me, you know, they just take more rights away. So just because the anti-idling laws may not apply to you, or you may be lucky enough to have an APU, doesn't mean that it's okay to allow it to happen to your fellow drivers. So you should speak up against idling laws. We all should speak up against idling laws, and that's what we're trying to do here, trying to bring awareness that there are real people who endure this. You know, if they're in a state that's giving out tickets, it's running the risk of getting a large fine. You know, not everyone has the luxury of having a newer truck or having an APU. That's just a fact. The trucking industry is so diverse. You know, to those of you saying, well, it's cooler at night. Yeah, it is cooler at night, but I can't, it's still going to be hot. It's just, I can't imagine it cooling down very much in here between now and the sun going down. I mean, it's cooled down a few degrees since the sun went behind us, but it's still really hot in here. It wouldn't be enough to get a restful night's sleep, for sure. And then, you know, to those of you saying get an AP or get a hotel room, not everyone can afford to get a hotel room every night. There are a lot of drivers who are just starting out. I mean, many of you probably remember starting out. Most big companies wanted you to have experience before you could work with them. So maybe you have to go to a small mom and pop trucking company. Maybe they have older equipment. Maybe your pay starts off really low because you're new in the industry. Maybe you can't afford to get a hotel room each night. Who of us can afford to get a hotel room every night? So all the excuses, it doesn't apply to me. It's only for trucks older than 2007. Roll down your windows. It gets cooler at night. Think about your fellow drivers who none of those things apply. They drive nights. They try to sleep during the day. They are in a bad area. They can't keep their windows down. So just because it doesn't affect you directly doesn't mean that it doesn't impact the trucking industry as a whole. If the point of e-logs and hours of service is driver fatigue, then why isn't this a consideration in driver fatigue? There's no way that you can get a good night's rest. There's no way that you can spend 10 hours in this heat and maybe 1, survive, and 2, get a restful night's sleep. So before you say that doesn't apply to me, think about the drivers it does apply to. And we're 1 hour in. I have never been this sweaty in my life. It's 110 degrees. My heart rate is at 133. So, thank you guys for watching.